everybody, and welcome to Netflix and Phil Circle Message. Shubham Goel, welcome to Netflix and Phil Send.
Circle Message, Phil, my brother, my day one. Thanks for having me, man. I'm super excited. Smiley face, lightning emoji, thumbs up emoji. Send.
Thank you. I can feel the energy through the screen.
Great.
How are you today?
Phil, I'm doing phenomenal, and I'm so stoked to chat with you. I hope you're doing well as well.
I'm doing great. I'm a huge fan of The Circle and you, and I think perhaps you may be the only contestant, if you will, to have appeared in 2 seasons, or do I have that wrong?
You are.
In theory. I know with editing they do a lot of tricks, so it's anybody's guess. Rewatch all the seasons.
So Trevor was
yes.
Lisa was catfishing as Trevor, and then Trevor came back in season 4. So
Great plot twist, by the way. But let's talk about your seasons. But I want to say that for last. So just a few things about you, Shubham. When I was rewatching the first season, a lot of things appear in the background in the rooms you stay in when you're filming a season. Yeah. And I noted that you are a UCLA graduate from 2017. Is that correct?
Yeah, go Bruins.
So yes. So tell me what you studied. What did you do there at UCLA?
Yeah, UCLA was such an incredible time. I wish I could go back. But anyways, I studied, my major was economics and my minor was in film and television.
Okay, I want to pursue that film and television minor because like you, when I went to college, I was like, my major is communication, but my minor was theater. So film and television, I know that school is very well known for it. So tell me about what that was like being educated in that there. And then, if you will, were there any movies or shows that you studied?
Oh, that's a great question. No, honestly, it was the time of my life when I was at UCLA. I grew up, I love watching movies and shows, especially growing up. My parents did too. So going to UCLA, it was so cool. We're learning from people in the industry. We're in the heart of Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. I took a film history class and we're watching some of the old classics like Singing in the Rain, Vertigo, Psycho. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. In the UCLA hall, I see all these old posters. I see sound stages people were working on. I took animated classes learning about it, the directing class. It was so fun. It was so sick.
How amazing. And I love Hitchcock 1, so we could probably talk forever on Psycho. And then Singing in the Rain it's kind of meta because it's a movie about filmmaking. Any movie favorites that you studied or otherwise that come to mind?
I mean, at UCLA, I never saw Singing in the Rain. I just remember being so enthralled by that. I was like, wow, this with the artwork and the amount of effort and thoughtfulness and the energy, it was like, wow, what a cool innovation they made.
You're right. And actually, there was a period of time, and I think that came out, I want to say 50s, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But the movie musical, the colorful production design, etc., that was the norm. And we don't see that a lot anymore.
I remember, those magnificent. Yeah, it was sick. It was sick.
Coincidentally, I think you can see Singing in the Rain on Netflix.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
I was I'll check it out. Yeah. Well, I want to kind of transition to that. You also hint on your season, your first season of The Circle, about your gubernatorial race in California, and walk us through that. I want you to speak about any platforms that you shared when you were running, and lastly, how you placed in that election.
Yeah, absolutely. So I ran for governor of California in 2018. Some of the platforms I was going for is I thought maybe all office holders could have Pokemon cards about them. And essentially these Pokemon cards would be digital cards where it says all the platforms they advocated for when they ran for office. And then when their tenure happened, how much were they actually able to accomplish? Because I think that's the most important metric. If you're going to say you do something and you can do it, that means you're good and you should stay. But if it's not that good, then what can you address or pivot to fix that? So I think that was something I was thinking. Standard, everyone has them, letter grades, kids get letter grades. That'd be cool to have them.
I would love for our politicians to have like a trading card aspect and a grade. Like you could put their power in the bottom right corner. Are they a 7.3?
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not to be like for the people who have like lower trading cards. It's not to like. It's also just to like motivate people, like be like, here's where you could improve. Maybe here's like a quick way of how you can address this, how you can fix it. So that was one thing. Another thing I was thinking is like, especially in Silicon Valley, it was about like making like having our startups use like artificial intelligence to create a public database of opted-in health records, and
Nice.
the AI companies could use their machines on the health records and kind of like see preventive ways to save people. So it's like essentially like they can help predict, like if you go in, you'll be like, oh, in 30 years you're going to get a disease, how can we help prevent it? So just bridging the gap between the government and the startups in Silicon Valley. Another thing I was addressing is like there's the governance board of regents, which are they govern the 9 UC campuses. It's like a board, and the governor is the one who appoints that power. And while I do think that has some merit, I was thinking another way. What I was promoting is maybe have the faculty, the administrators, and the students appoint the board of regents themselves, because they're, the kids are the ones who are involved in it. So maybe they'll have a different type of representation. So there was those are some of the stuff.
And I appreciate hearing what you stood for when you ran. So I guess my next question for you is, do you plan to run again, or do you see that in your future?
Oh,
or you can take a moment to think about it and get back to me.
If I genuinely think I can help out people in whatever office it is,
sure,
and I bring a level of innovation, effectiveness, and positive energy and happiness to an office position, then I'll go for it. And I think I have a good shot. And if I think there's a fighting chance at winning that seat and where I can bring a lot of value to people, I'm all game for that,
Well, and you demonstrated that clearly on the circle, because I think that attributed to much of your success on the show, because you glow that diplomacy and that advocation like right on screen. So I think you should do it. If you're hesitating, I'll vote for you, even though I don't live in California. You've got my vote. And quickly, if you don't mind sharing, what are you currently doing? What's your role now?
Yeah, so I'm interning at the United Nations right now.
Nice.
Since January, I'm on the political affairs and peacemaking team. So that's been super fun. It's just been a dream to work with the United Nations. I just love what they're doing. Nice. So that's fun. And then I'm also working in product as a product manager, which is basically like building software products at a big tech company right now. So
nice. That's awesome. And do you get to do that remotely?
Yeah, both are remote. Both are remote, Bill.
Welcome to the new world. Remote work is the new thing, and AI, as you mentioned, that has become more part of the conversation more and more, whether you're looking at LinkedIn or just new things that are happening in medicine, as you mentioned. I'm in the hospitality industry. We're talking about AI ourselves. So it's kind of a crazy, brand new world.
I know. Yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah. Well, speaking of brand new worlds, about 5 years ago, I would say, maybe sooner, because the seasons come rapidly.
3 years. 3 years.
Is it 3? Because
3 years, 2 months. It was 2020 January. So
I love that you have an exact date, because those seasons come rapid fire. They like drop like a season.
Yeah, they're great. I love it.
That's so wonderful. Well, I want to talk about your presence on season 1. You came in and announced yourself, and refresh our memory. Were you in the first episode, or did you come in a little bit later?
No, I was in the beginning. Yeah, I was in the
beginning. And something that I really appreciated, oftentimes the players on the circle, they share perhaps connections with family. And what I appreciated about you is you mentioned your family quite a bit, your parents being your best friends. And in my research, I happened to notice that both your parents have Instagram profiles.
Oh, yeah. My mom and dad are on Instagram. Go follow them, everyone.
I know. I did.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
So quickly, tell me about them and your upbringing.
Yeah, my mom and dad are the best. My mom and dad, Karuna Goel, Vipul Goel, they came from India in Yeah, in the 80s, all the way to California. And yeah, my upbringing, it's been so fun. I've had such an incredible childhood. It's been such a fun childhood filled with amazing adventures. Mom and dad were the best. Family's been the greatest. It's just been a really fun time, and I'm so grateful.
Well, that's wonderful. And we got to see your dad in season 1. And then I noticed when you return in season 5, you had their pictures prominently displayed.
Presence there, Yeah.
That's so wonderful. Okay, so you came in kind of with a bit of an agenda. It was almost political in the sense because you came in wanting to almost disparage social media. You called it the bubonic plague of our era. And you used the term social Medusa. Tell me about that.
For sure. So I dub social media social Medusa because, like Medusa, she'll entrap you with her beautiful eyes, her warm aura. She'll bring you in. But as she brings you in, there's some mental health and physical health deterioration. So that's what my thing with social media is. That's what it was just showing, that as good of a tool as it is, as good of a platform, there are some negatives where it's harming mental health, especially of our youth. It's a false comparison contest.
Yep.
It's in some ways it's segmented people from each other, from that genuine human connection.
I completely agree. And I think that was also something that you spoke of when you were running for governor, and perhaps limiting children's access to social media.
Exactly, yeah. And that was limiting it during school time. I wanted to really focus on kids being kids, and maybe working on, like, we just focus on, because at that age they should just be focusing on having fun, learning. And I genuinely think they'll have more fun on less time on those platforms.
Well, thank you for that clarity around it. So now this is more of a trivia question. You came to be known colloquially as Shooby on the show, but I'm curious, who first coined that name? Do you know or recall?
Well, in the game, you mean
Yeah. Yeah.
No, okay. I I don't know. Okay. I know Joey called me it independently. I know Antonio called me independently. I just don't know who was first. I genuinely think both of them called me. I think it's both of them at the same time. I think it was around the same time. And I love both of those guys. So I give credit to both of them, and they're both my boys,
Excellent. Because as I was watching back, I think the first person to utter it on screen is Antonio. And I was like, oh, it wasn't Joey that first coined it, but maybe.
I think it was both. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm great. It was funny. It was great.
Well, speaking of Joey, you two were kind of like, you referred to him as Broy Joey on the show. We're talking about Joey Sasso. What was it about that relationship that you cultivated between each other on the show?
Yeah, Joey's my brother. He's such a great guy. And I think with Joey, with me and him, it was like both of us on day one, especially me, I was kind of feeling like my time, I could be going anytime soon because I was in last place. And I don't know, Joey and me were very different, but we're also very alike. And I think both of us were just like, through that, like, that day one being on the outs, we really connected. And Joey was himself 100%, I was myself, and we were just able to connect two spirits. Sometimes you can't put a math formula to why people gel, but our spirits just connected. And it was such a pleasure, and it was such an experience of a lifetime to play that game with Joey by my side. And it was just such a fun experience, and it was so cool because the friendships we made on the circle with Sammy, with Joey, with Chris, with Rebecca, with the whole cast, they translated 100% to the real world, which is sick.
Which leads me to my next question, because it's evident that you all really connected and had such fondness for each other on the show. And of course, we kind of follow you on social media, but what is your relationship with those fellow players that you met on season 1 today?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's so fun. Yeah, we're always whenever we're in the same area. I was at Sammy's place. She had a few people over a month or two ago. That was super fun.
Yeah.
Chris from LA, recently we kicked it. That was super fun. He was there. Seaburn and me text because he's on the East Coast, Atlanta. Seaburn's my boy.
Okay. Nice.
Joey and me, Joey's my day one, so we were actually in New York a few months ago together.
Nice.
We had a great day. That was just so much fun and adventure. And yeah, it's just so fun. We're always kicking it whenever we're in the same area.
Well, and it's funny to hear that because I think that's kind of atypical of a reality type show where you don't necessarily see that bond between players after a show airs, etc., which is what I kind of appreciate about the circle itself.
Yeah, it was really cool to see.
Now, so let's fast forward. You get invited back. I guess this is a question, and I wasn't planning to ask this, but did you pursue them or did they pursue you to return in season 5?
Well, there's a lot of moving pieces,
Sure.
but I will say I always told Netflix and Studio Lambert, the circle, everyone involved. I always said like I had the time of my life playing season 1, and for me it was like it changed my life. It's one of the most maybe the most incredible experience of my whole life. So I said I would go to Mount Everest and back. I would climb it 15 times to play this game again. I absolutely love the game again. So there were moving pieces, and they reached out, and I was like, absolutely.
Nice.
I was super stoked. I was super grateful to play the game I love again, and I was ecstatic.
Well, you and I think the world collectively were excited to have you return, as was I. So now we're going to take an opportunity to walk through that season. So and for those of you that are watching, if you haven't watched The Circle, there is a component where players can play as not themselves, but someone else. They inherently catfish as another player. So you, during the season, are not yourself like you were on season 1, but you catfish as who this go around, Shubham?
Yeah, I catfish as Sasha, aka Tavishi, who is from India.
Yes.
She's around my age, wonderful person. She's a musician and artist, great person.
She sings beautifully.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah, Tavishi Sharma. So if you're not following her already on Instagram, go ahead and check her out. So I'm curious, did you have any awareness you would be presented with that profile to catfish as, or was it a surprise?
No, I was surprised. Yeah, like I knew going in, I would be given a random catfish profile, and when I saw Tavishi, I was really stoked. I was really excited.
Nice. Excellent. Okay. So that leads me to my next question. As we know, or anyone that's watched The Circle, you got to the finale in season 1, yet it was a little bit different turn of events in season 5.
Yeah, it was a great time again. I had so much fun. I came in a little bit later in season 5. I was catfishing, and I noticed I felt like I had to make big moves to put myself into a winning position or get deep into the game. So I took a big risk of a move and no regrets. It was so fun.
I'm glad you don't regret it because I recognize coming in late to the game with established players, I probably would have done the same thing, to be honest.
Yeah, thank you.
And granted, perhaps it wasn't received as well as you had hoped. But I guess with that, let me see what my next question is here. If you were to do it again or you were to be invited back, is there anything you would change or do differently on a future season of The Circle?
Yeah, I think I would follow my heart and just be myself, right? Play season 1. That's who I am. Like, be myself, trust my heart. But season 5, nonetheless, I was super proud of myself because, like, I think in this game, like, I just didn't want any regrets. So I played as hard as I could, trust my spirit, and let the dice roll.
That seems to be the advantage in these shows, is whether you're catfishing or not, to kind of still flavor the personality with your own, inner thoughts and feelings. That seems to be an advantage most of the time. So I'm curious, you had a specific perception of social media when you came on season 1. Now we're past season 5, and I'm just curious, has your opinion of social media changed or evolved over time?
Oh yeah. You know what? After The Circle, I realized how on social media you can make incredible friendships. You can express your voice across the world, or in communities. You can build a community, and it's a great way to connect with people. Having said that, I still think the negatives of the mental health addiction, the false comparison contest, maybe a bad influence on the youth, promoting a system of more likes, that can be somewhat detrimental to people. So for me, social Medusa is still social Medusa, but there's still some goodness. So it's a double-edged katana sword.
You're absolutely right. So on The Circle, they often pepper the episodes with what I call kind of mini challenges or mini elements. So you mentioned in season 1 that you're a Marvel fan. Does that still hold
Yeah,
true?
I love Marvel. Yeah.
Okay. That said, I'm going to hold up a series of comic books on the screen. Pretend it's The Circle, and when the image appears, you just stream of consciousness, tell me what you think about said comic book or character. Sound good? Okay. All right. First one.
Oh, I love her. Incredible, powerful, fun, pivotal to the X-Men.
Yes, she is. I love Storm too. Ready?
We are Groot. I love Groot. He, he's such a warm soul. He has such a impressive physicality, and he's a great friend.
Agreed. I totally agree with that.
Oh, Civil War, great movie. That was so fun to watch. It was great to see. Yeah, it was such a fun movie.
So before I hit record, I have a couple of prints on my wall. Captain America, Spider-Man. What are your thoughts on Captain America and or Spider-Man or the Marvel movies?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Marvel movies. I love Captain America. I love Spider-Man. I think they're such incredible characters, and I think what they did, they created such an incredible universe, entangling everything with each other. Mm-hmm. And the build up to the Avengers, the Endgame, Infinity War was so incredible to see growing up with them. It was like watching like modern day geniuses just build these incredible stories, and you just see their massive influence on the whole industry. It's been so fun to watch.
Some filmmakers have come out with perhaps a negative opinion of these films, yet fans like you and I, we love this stuff.
It's just so fun. I love going to them. I think actually somewhere on Netflix I was watching, you can watch them at home with the family, or you can, or friends, or you could go to the movies and just eat lots of popcorn. It's just so fun.
So what is in your immediate future, if anything, that you can share with us?
Oh, thanks, man. It's so fun chatting with you. I'm just gonna keep working, enjoy every day as they come, and would love to do more film and TV stuff. So that'd be so fun.
Okay, so I wish you success with that, and thank you, buddy, for your time. So glad to chat with you. Look for Shubham. He's on Instagram. Where else can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn. Me and Phil are on LinkedIn. Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. I feel like I'm missing a big one. Facebook.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I'll put your socials in the description box so people can find you.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you again, kind sir, and thank you for your time. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the stop record button, but stay on for a bit and we'll chat a little more. Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us on Netflix.
I hope you all are doing well. Have the best time. Have the best year.